Hey everyone. Today's topic, don't date people who post on social media for attention. It's interesting. We live in a world now where it's basically a green flag when someone either doesn't have any social media accounts or barely uses social media because there's so many ways in which social media can create insecurities and other issues for someone or even for their relationship because social media is kind of like this medium that can bring out the worst in people or tempt them. And if someone hasn't spent a lot of time working on themselves, they're far more likely to give in to that temptation. And this is why I would encourage other people who work on themselves to not date those who post on social media for attention. And we all have an idea of what that kind of behavior is, right? Like what that entails, posting for attention. Usually it involves selfies and, not wearing a whole lot of clothing or showing off specific body parts that attract attention from the opposite sex. Women engage in this behavior typically quite a lot more often than men do, but men can do this just the same, although it's certainly less common. But you should not spend time on people who engage in this behavior. And there are a few reasons for this. One of the first ones is because this behavior can kind of tell you a few things about this person. And one of the main things is that they probably lack self-love. Why? Because when you've worked on yourself enough, you don't need attention or validation from other people. You're able to provide that for yourself. Maybe not attention, but definitely validation. So you don't need other people to constantly be doting upon you and telling you how attractive you look and how great you are. You don't need it. In fact, you may even kind of not like it when people do that because you may not care for it anymore. So when someone engages in posting on social media for attention all the time, that tells you this person probably has some deep-rooted insecurities about their appearance, their self-worth, whether or not they're worthy of being loved, and that sort of thing. So unless you want to fix a broken person, which I've already talked about in prior videos, that may not be the best route to take. You don't need to save anyone, but unless you want to do that, I would avoid these people. Because do you have the time to save others like that? And quite often someone who posts on social media for attention, that would require so much work to fix that behavior and to put them on the right path in life that I would say it's not even really worth it. Not to mention because one of the other issues with them is they're far more likely to cheat. They're far more likely to not be loyal because they have all these options, all these followers who give them attention and want to do the naughty business with them in the bedroom. That is very difficult for most average people to handle without it getting to their heads. That's why so often these social media influencers are narcissistic because their egos grow so big from all that attention and they can't handle it that it gets to their head and they start thinking they're better than others. That's a problem. So if that person who's posting on social media for attention has no signs or shows no signs of them having worked on themselves in the past, they are very likely going to give in to that temptation and develop a massive ego over it. It's all statistics here. So yeah, I don't think it's worth it. And you'll quite often find that people who work on themselves won't engage in this behavior because they understand how bad it can make them look and they feel no need to engage in it anyway. So I truly believe you won't find many people who've actually worked on themselves who do this. I'm sure, there are always outliers, right? Like I can't speak in black and white, or I can't paint things in black and white because that's, there will always be outliers. But good luck finding an outlier in this case. Someone who's worked on themselves and they post for attention. I've never encountered anyone like that. I've never seen it online. So I don't know. It probably exists, but it's probably so incredibly rare that most people who engage in this behavior, the vast majority of them, you could probably assume they don't work on themselves. They may tell you that they do, but I highly doubt they actually do. Because if they did, why would they need to engage in that behavior? Sure, at some point, maybe some of them do it as a source of income, but yet again, you'd have to wonder, why did they choose that route to make money? The way people make money matters, so I don't know why someone who works on themselves would choose to make it by selling their body and that sort of, yeah, Oh well, people do it, right? Yeah, they do, but it's just questionable behavior. And I don't think it's worthwhile to try to build a foundation of a relationship with someone who does this kind of thing. Because, yeah, they could have a ton of insecurities, they probably don't work on themselves, but then the propensity for them to give into temptation and be willing to cheat is so high that it's just not worth your time. So that's personally why I would not ever date someone like this. I do actually tend to view it as a green flag if a woman doesn't really use social media or doesn't even have social media. Like, I fall into that category for sure. It's attractive to me. It immediately raises the woman's value in my eyes because I'm like, holy crap, she does not need attention from other people. Because if she did, she'd be on social media and she'd be trying to post all the time to get it. So as soon as you encounter someone who has no social media, that pretty much tells you this is someone who is self-reliant, who does not need other people to tell them they're great and attractive all the time. They've worked on themselves enough to not need that validation or attention. So those people nowadays are like unicorns almost. I mean, yeah, so if you encounter one and you like them, definitely try to hold on to them because that is hopefully someone who will be rather loyal. Of course, I can't speak in black and white, but I would wager they are far more likely to be loyal, of course, than someone who has a massive social media following. So there you go. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. It's a bit more psychological in nature, but hopefully you guys understand what I was driving at here and why I just wouldn't recommend you to date someone who has a lot of social media followers, or, well, that's not the issue so much. The way that they post for attention is the issue. So if you can tell that someone you're dating does that, I would run away. Like, maybe you could stick around and have just fun with them, but, well, don't get attached to them and certainly set strong boundaries. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe for more. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like on it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!